To put together a little post about how I went about recreating the BLURT logo. I've been using another blockchain project. I've probably got about 3 or 4 blog posts, social blockchains that I put blog posts on now. Just because I like some of the features of one over another one. It's kind of interesting, my relationship with each one and why. Some of them feel like a fresh start. Some of them feel like legacy, like I have good memories of the older stuff, and then some of it is newer stuff that I'm just really not that kind of part of. So it's kind of weird really having all these side chains. Anyway, what I wanted to do is I wanted to take the BLURT logo and I wanted to turn that into something that I could use on a day-to-day basis. So the first thing I did is I really wanted to know what font they'd used on this, because it's got a very unique kind of square hash. So I went and used a website called My Fonts and did a search using this what the font. So you can upload an image. So I just took a copy of this image and uploaded it. And then you can select where the AI of this website finds text on the picture. So then once you've found it, you can say identify this font. So I found the font, but unfortunately the font is like $39 or something like that. If I scroll down, here it is, demo bold. This is the closest one, I think, and I think it's this. I'm not 100% certain because this is actually a little bit narrower, but I would say that it's close to demo bold, but it's like 35 pounds. I was not prepared to pay for a font, so I ended up using a different font, which you'll see in a minute, which is not that much different. Other things that I started to use was gifs, which is a really high quality GIF encoder, which you can get from gif.ski, or you can grab it on the Mac's App Store. It's free, or you can go and get it from GitHub. If you are a GitHub person, you can install it with brew install gifs. And the other one I use, because I alternate between gifs and GIF Brewery. GIF Brewery gives me a bit more animation tweaking ability. gifs, once you get used to making GIFs and you know roughly how the software works, gifs is better because it can export higher quality, I think, like 60 frames per second if you really want to go that far. But GIF Brewery has a lot more little bits and pieces for tweaking, and I recommend you spending some time playing around with it anyway, because you might get different quality out of it, file size, etc, etc. So there's the things I kind of use. Now originally I was actually going to do this in ScreenFlow, but I changed my mind because I couldn't do certain things with shapes. So in the end, I decided that I was going to use Keynote. Now you'll see on the left-hand side, I've got 2 frames here. You see, it's not close to the square hash, but it'll do the job for what I need. Now at the moment, what you're looking at is a transparent background. But if I actually change the format and put a color fill of, say, white, then you'll see that it looks pretty damn close to their logo, right? Now, one of the problems that I'm going to tell you about that I found is that I originally had this white area as a circle, as a white filled in circle, and then I was like moving the layers back and forth, so I was putting layers behind different layers. So I had this black oval at the back and then this white over the top, which gave me this effect. But when you come to export it, you have to turn off the background so there's no fill. So what happens is you end up with like a white circle here, and I tried no fill on that just to see if it will give me the spacing, and that didn't work. So the way I worked it out is actually you can do something really cool in Keynote, which I didn't know you could do, is you can select some objects, and I'm just going to select this and this just to show you what I mean. So I've selected both objects, and you can actually do I'm trying to think how I did it now. There's a shape thing in here somewhere. Where was it? It shapes this. So you can do these things: unite, intersect, subtract, and exclude. So what I ended up doing is subtracting the white circle from this oval to give me this unique shape. And the thing with that as well is once you've got this shape, you can add that into shapes inside a Keynote. So I've now got this BLURT cut out all the time. So one of the things I couldn't do in ScreenFlow is I couldn't do filled in shapes very easily. Like you can do annotations, but you can't do shapes. So And another thing with ScreenFlow, it's not very good at anti-aliasing. This isn't great, but it's better than ScreenFlow. So I worked out that you can actually have different shapes and make your own custom shapes. So you can actually cut something out and then style it to suit, and then you can reuse it again. So if I just delete this, if I want to, I can just select BLURT, and you can see like I can literally create my own little custom sizing of that, which is kind of nice. So yeah, you have the background of this as no fill. So basically now that is a transparent background. Just to show you the animation, just so you can see it, so it's native. If I go onto Animate tab and Build Order, you see it's very simple. All I've got is a fade and move, and then I've got the keyboard effect for the team and the humble. So if I just play this out, you can I don't know if you can see on that because it's popping up on my other screen actually. But it runs a little animation on this blurt text, and it runs a little one on here as well. Now, another thing to be aware of when you're animating stuff and then going to save it out as a movie and convert it to a GIF is that GIF does really weird stuff with movies, because what you're doing is you're converting every frame of the movie into a picture and then you're joining them together. And just as things are weird, as they always are with software, if you do certain kinds of effects, so I had an effect that pulled this in from the right, which looked really cool, but it added all this artifacting, all this crappy graphic stuff on here, and it was to do with the encoding of the video. Now I could have spent hours trying to work out why I did it, but I just changed the animation style. So if you're exporting something and you get any kind of weird artifacting in your animation, try changing the animation effect, because it's probably just something the way that it's interleaving the GIFs. There's certain algorithms that you can use. So if I just bring up the GIF brewery and I open that one I did, let's do the movie so you can see what I mean. There's certain algorithms here, ordered, random, Sierra, none. Those are to optimize the way that the images are stored, and unfortunately when you're doing animation inside of GIFs, it kind of gets bad data, if you like, and messes up. So that's something to look out for. So I'd got what I wanted. I kind of changed the transparency on this, and the reason why I did that is it's mainly because on BLURT you have the ability to turn things on and off in terms of the color. So you can either have the night mode or you can go back to the white mode. So what I wanted is I wanted the ability that whatever GIF that I spat out, so I've got one on the bottom of here, whatever GIF I spat out, it would look good on white and black. So you can see, even though the anti-aliasing looks really harsh on white, it does work on both, and that works because I have a transparent alpha layer on the background of this, and I do that by not having one as a color fill inside a Keynote. So you say background no fill. Now the other important thing when you're exporting stuff out is if you do export and then movie, you'll notice that you've got like resolution 720p, 1080. Now most people would want to do sort of 1080. A couple of things I would recommend here. First of all, get the stage exactly the size that you want it to be exporting all the way through. Otherwise, because you're using a transparent background, I can't see this shape here. Right, so if I turn on the fill again, you'll see what I mean. That's where the shape ends. So if I export this whole thing, I'm going to have space at the top, left, right, and at the bottom. So I recommend that. I think the size that works best on Plurk, Steam, Hive is 840 pixels across. So I tend to double that size and use that as a base size. So what is that? 1680 by whatever it is. You have to work it out. I just did a whole full HD just to mock up some stuff. Originally I was going to make lots of little different pieces for a stream pack, which I'm going to work on at a later date, but I just wanted to get the logo done first. Alright, so if you go to export, what happens, like I said, is you can see you've got 720p and you've got 1080. Now the problem with this is that if you do that, then you won't get the transparency. And another thing is, whenever this has got a color fill on there, then it won't give you the options to export in the way that you want. So as soon as I take that off and do export movie, what you'll notice is when I go to custom, you'll notice now that it says export with transparent backgrounds. Now if I turn the background on again, the color fill, and do file, export, movie, and then do custom again, Actually, it's showing on this, so I'm talking rubbish. But it never used to do that. Maybe it's a new fix. But it never used to do that. It never used to show it, and people were like really confused how you can export it. So I've just been found out to be fibbing. All right, custom, and I'm going to do this at 1920 by 1080. Now, if you export it H.264, there's no ability to save any alpha layers. So you want to do ProRes, and when you do ProRes, it actually highlights the thing below, which says export only when slide background is set to no fill or has transparency. Export with transparent backgrounds, which is what you want. So that when you have a source file going into something like GIF Brewery, so I bought GIF Brewery up here. Let me just shrink this down because it's kind of big. This is why you should do the file sizes. I'll probably include a file size that you should use as a little download template and put it on Gumroad or something. But you can see if I step through this from left to right, you can see the animation effect. And at the minute it's all black area, but actually this isn't black, this is just transparent. So you're not seeing that rounded oval. So you have to kind of guess it as to where the end of it is, which is not cool. So I would recommend making sure that your base template, the sizing is correct and that everything fits on it, so that when you export it, it's a lot easier. A couple of things to notice on this. What I tend to do is you'll notice as I step through, it does the animation, show some text, and then if you look at the character, it actually blinks. There you go, I did it quickly there, it kind of blinks. The way I did that is I just have a copy of the first animation thing, then I remove all the animations of the text and this fade in, so it's as if it was already there. And then I just change these to like animate these by what did I do? I actually did the build order, and I just literally had them blink as an action. I didn't build them in, I just used the action tab to blink it. You can either like move, rotate, scale, or blink, which is kind of handy because I wanted it to blink. And then all I did with this is, if you look at the actual animation, it kind of plays out, and then it'll blink, and then this will start to go backwards, right? So that played and blinked, and then it went back and blinked, and then it untyped, and then this will reveal again because that's now playing again. And so all I did with that is, inside of GIF Brewery 3, you want the loop type to be palindrome. So what that means is it will play to the end and then bounce back, and then play to the end and bounce back, keep going. It's a really, really nice effect to be able to get like really good animation. And if you do it right, it's really subtle. It makes the GIF look bigger than it actually is in terms of effects. And the file size obviously is bigger because you've got more frames in it. Because it's say your animation is 100 frames, it becomes 200 frames because it's doing it forwards and it's doing it backwards. But then it loops from the beginning. So I kind of like that because you can create stuff inside of Keynote or whatever your animation is, package is, and you can just like loop it nicely. Perfect for things like Twitter as well, if you're doing like social outreach on Twitter. But what else did I want to put? Yeah, so the other thing that I do, once I've got this animation like I want, and I've spat it out from this, and I've saved it as a GIF, and I've uploaded it somewhere, I also use a hotkey so that I always remember my footer. So for instance, if I just go into the reply tab here, if I make sure that I've got my program running, I use a great program on Mac called Text Expander. If I do shift 1, so I've got apostrophe, and I do bfoot, then it automatically copies my link to Cloud App where I've got this signature stored, and I can just drop it in as I'm writing this out, which is a really useful thing to have. And you can also link that with Bear and Text Expander on an iPad, so you can do that on iOS, which is kind of handy if you just want to do blogging on the go, and you can put all your like footers and headers and layouts and stuff all inside of a macro inside of Text Expander. Just speeds up the whole process of actually blogging, gets away from all the stress of like, where's my graphics, where's this. It's just easy. That's my first little technology thing that I wanted to post. I hope it was useful. I am making a whole suite of graphics and effects and animations and layouts. I feel like one of the things that was missing from Steam and Hive was some kind of like assets pack. There was assets out there that people were making, but there wasn't a group of people actively doing it and getting upvoted for it. It seemed very like niche, and you had to be in the cool crowd. So I kind of like feel like BLURT is a fresh start. And I'm putting together a proposal actually for like creative social media for people coming in who are doing who are getting into blockchain for the first time and are looking for like assets for BLURT to be able to like do live streams when they're gaming or whatever, just to tell people about BLURT and maybe get into cryptocurrency for the first time and feel like they have a decentralized home on the web which isn't going to get downvoted and stuff like that. Hopefully that was useful. Like I say, I'll put all the links that I've used today inside of the blog post. An upvote would be really cool but not expected, and I'll be putting out some more little animations and graphics soon. I'll catch up with you soon. Take care. Bye.